Hello there, and welcome to White Space number 4, I think, if I can count it properly. My name is Bill Boyle. We have Max Smolax and Peter Judge with us today. We're going to start with Peter, who's going to talk Zynga, and then we only have Max for a few hours this weekend because he's just arrived back from Las Vegas, which he'll tell you about, and then he's off to China, which he'll tell you about next time. Peter.
Okay, well, moving out onto the public cloud, Google announced this week that it's done that with all its in-house IT, which for many people isn't a surprise, but it's something which Google has been fighting shy of for some while. And I think Max looked into that a bit more than I did. Are they going to face any problems with that?
Well, number one, security, because yes, what Google did is they just threw out the rule book. There's going to be no firewalls, no VPNs. It's all new. It's all based on mobile devices and databases. So they have to keep the database of all employees, which should be updated in real time, and they need to keep a database of all devices, which they update in real time. And that access is granted, temporary access, based on the device and a user. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But Google is so secretive, if it doesn't work that well, we'll never find out.
Does that mean then that the security is based on the device? So that's the only security you have?
Security still happens on the server, but basically security of the device is taken into the account.
Yeah.
So when Google gives you a permission, it checks, for example, whether your operating system is updated or not, and what kind of operating system you have. So I guess Apple would score a little bit higher than Google itself.
So as you say, will it work? We may never know. Meanwhile, another company has gone out onto the public cloud, Zynga, who I'm sure we all love deeply because of all the Farmville announcements and things we get from our friends and former friends on Facebook. Zynga hasn't been doing so well since the glory days when everybody else apart from us seemed to be playing Farmville or Mafia Wars or poker or whatever other delightful offerings they
Mafia
had.
Wars.
Mafia Wars, yeah.
I think it was called something else,
Yes.
wasn't
it? There's a lot of irony in this story because Amazon sorted them out. Amazon helped them in a difficult spot in their early days and enabled them to get to a position where they really kind of thought, a position of hubris, where they were expecting too much of themselves. They built their games on their own servers, and then they took off, Farmville particularly took off much faster than they expected. Mm-hmm. And it would have been a complete disaster if they hadn't been able to move it onto the Amazon Elastic Cloud. Mm-hmm. But then once they started to make money, they thought, let's build our own cloud, our own data centers. We can surely do this cheaper and better than Amazon. And lo and behold, 5 years later, it's turned out they can't. So they're closing down their data centers, shutting down their hybrid Z cloud, and moving everything onto Amazon. So bad luck, Zynga, and to people playing their games, I'm sure they'll still work just as well as they have.
So what lessons do we learn then about that move to the cloud then? Is this a dysfunctional company that has had a few falls along the way that have led it to just fall short, bad data center decisions, or does it have a bigger, is there a bigger comment about that move to the cloud?
Well, yes, I guess Zynga is a particular case where it's fallen from a high level down to a very low level, and that's something where the scalable nature of cloud comes both ways, and certainly scaling down is almost more important than scaling up on the cloud, because that's where you save money and you haven't invested in hardware that you're never going to use. Yeah. So yeah, I mean but in general, I'd say this is the lesson here is that the public cloud really is very often a lot cheaper than what you can do. Mm.
Yes. And then from a gaming point of view, I just want to add that when these guys invented the sort of free-to-play model, which wasn't actually free, they thought they struck gold. And right now, there's been so much bad press, and the whole community sort of turned around. So the only people who play this are the people who don't understand how it works. So it's like those banners, like on the internet. You would never click them, but the fact that they're there means somebody clicked on them. Even if they do it just once, that kind of justifies it. So Zynga still makes its money, but I guess not as much as it used to. King.com, another company in this space, is doing pretty badly as well. You can of course know it by Candy Crush. So yeah, good luck free to play.
Are they going the same way then?
We'll see. Again, I certainly don't wish them well.
Excellent. Let's keep on with the hubris then. EMC World, what did you find out in Las Vegas?
EMC World was lovely. It was, I mean, no disrespect, but it was much better than last time, and it was all about how cool, agile, and young EMC is, and how it's reinventing itself again. So basically, everything was agile, everything was hyper-converged, but actually the most interesting announcement, which I thought many people downplayed, is they open sourced their first ever product. So they used to sell this thing called ViPR to the enterprise, and now they've given all of the code to the community. It's called Project Copperhead, and the spelling is pretty cool. It's like Copper HD. Yes, so that is now being developed by all kinds of people, and the beauty of ViPR is it made arrays from different manufacturers play nice with each other. So giving that to these very vendors to write code for it is a very clever move, and I mean, we'll see if it's a start of a new and beautiful thing, or is just a clever marketing move.
Right. So ViPR itself is all software?
Yes, it's an absolutely software storage controller, yeah.
Right, and but it works with other vendors' products, so maybe EMC is hoping to get it to undercut what other people are doing somehow here?
Maybe. I mean, they're saying it's all about APIs, right? Because APIs are essentially, you know, this language. They already speak with each other. So they're thinking they give it out and make it easier to have EMC and non-EMC equipment side by side, which is, I guess...
It'll get them into places as opposed to letting other players into their installations.
Yes. And then there were... published a feature this week about ARM versus IBM, and you might have not thought that these two guys are competing with each other, but they are, and it's only going to intensify because both of them have chips based on the RISC architecture, and both of them, IBM has just done it. It has started licensing the designs of its chips to others, so anyone can make one, and there's a lot of interest in China where a lot of these chips are made. So we're going to have two different takes on RISC, and I'm trying to make a point that the customers only need one because they're not that different, and IBM so far, it seems, has been doing pretty well.
Okay. So Bill,
Equinix.
Equinix.
The co-location market's been going through quite a lot of change and what do they call it? Consolidation over the last few weeks. And but there's an interesting angle. Our roving reporter Nick Booth, we dispatched Nick, and Nick takes our most dangerous assignments. He went to Slough a few weeks ago for the opening of Equinix's new data center, LD6, I think it was. While he was there, he had a chat with Steve Smith, who actually said that the
global CEO of Equinix, no less.
Yep. Sure said that. And Steve, the global CEO, was saying that that the combination of Interxion and Telecity, the manager, wouldn't be anything that they would worry about because they weren't working in the same space. And lo and behold, in his back pocket, he obviously had a memo saying they were planning this move, which has thrown a big spanner into the works of the acquisition. We'll wait and see what happens, but it just shows you that there's a lot still to happen in the colo space. Equinix, we're not trying to, I mean, Equinix are a major player, but it's going to be interesting to see how they bring, if they do get together, how they integrate them with the strategy they already have of the business markets within Equinix. I thought it was nice, quite an interesting one where we got the inside story purely because we sent the right man to the right place at the right time.
Yes. Okay, so that's two European players, Telecity and Interxion merging, and the giant US global player muscling in to break it up.
Yep.
We shall wait to see how that works out.
Yes, because obviously big questions. Why? Is it just a matter of scale? There's some stuff on the site at the moment which begins to look at that, which you and I have written about, and what's interesting are the points of presence and the increasing points of presence within Europe, how certain parts of Europe are becoming more strategic to them.
Right, good.
And that is it, I think, for this week. Thank you very much, and look forward to Max's International Travels Part 5.
If I do come back alive.
If you come back at all.